The last time we talked about a YouTuber, it was Uncle PurpleRodri, a man who had a lot going on throughout his YouTube journey and a man who created a lot of people's childhoods. If you haven't watched that video, you should. It gets pretty serious. There's not a day that goes by where I end up reading your comments on that video about how much PurpleRodri impacted your guys' childhoods. So I thought I'd talk about another fellow who impacted many childhoods as well. Another guy who just went out and disappeared recently, and that is PurpleRodri. A man known for his gaming content on all things Nintendo, later on moving to what probably a lot of you remember him by, which is his Pokemon content, which would probably end up giving him the label of a PokeTuber. The last time PurpleRodri uploaded was actually not too long ago, his last upload being in May 2020, almost 2 years ago. It seems that he had a consistent fan base who would watch his videos, his last video getting 300,000 views, but his other videos consistently getting about 30,000 per upload, which again, isn't bad. And the only context we get about why he left is that he's just done, and he's retiring, which he mentions in a tweet in his channel's bio also. So again, the question remains, why give this all up, especially when you're so close to 1 million subscribers? So this is where the controversy would come in. Again, it can be completely possible that yeah, he was just done with YouTube after years of uploading, but the timing of his retirement could be more fitting for the type of way of just getting away from this specific controversy. In June 21st, 2020, a Twitter user by the name of Becca Faye posted a tweet longer accusing PurpleRodri of sexual assault, which took place at PAX South 2015 about 7 years ago from the time that I'm writing the script for the video. As you can see, these events took place in 3 days. I'll leave the link to the tweet longer in the description below, but to quote some of what she says, reminder that what I'm about to read might be triggering for some people. It does have to do a lot with sexual assault, and it goes into detail of what she experienced that night the sexual assault happened. So here's an editor's note, this part's not scripted. When she mentions red, that's specifically referring to Rodri. I forgot to put that in the script, but just for you guys to know, red equals Rodri in this situation. Okay, back to the scripted video part. She ends up writing, "It was just Red and I in an empty hotel room. He was blocking the door to the living room area. I remember asking him where everyone was and not getting an answer. The next thing I remember is being in the bed with my shirt and bra off and Red on top of me. I don't remember how I got to the bed. I don't remember the top half of my clothing being removed. I started struggling and telling him to get off me. He refused and started trying to take my pants off. I said no and stop more times than I can count, and he continued to try and get my pants off, but he was struggling with them the entire time. I continuously struggled and told him to stop, but he wasn't listening." She ends the tweet longer by saying, "I've tried to forget about the incident because I wasn't actually raped. I would tell myself it's not a big deal, it never went that far, but it is a big deal. Even if there was no penetration/real rape, I was sexually assaulted. I was touched inappropriately. I was pinned down. I was scared, and there was an attempt made. I was sexually assaulted, and despite all the factors saying otherwise, it was not my fault. No means no, and that was not respected. It's not my fault. I tell myself it wasn't my fault for years, but I never really started believing it until recently. This is clear as day sexual assault. There's no getting around it. There is no excuse that should be made for what happened. When this happened, she was drunk, but you can't consent when you're intoxicated, because you're just that, intoxicated. And any further attempts to try anything more is taking advantage of someone who can't even consent." If that wasn't enough, Rodri responds to these accusations with a tweet, an excuse saying, "Everything between us was consensual. You were drinking on your own accord and also hooked up with multiple other people during those nights, whose names you're not bringing up." Becca then responds with a tweet directed straight to his response saying, "It doesn't matter how many people I kissed or how much alcohol I drank. It doesn't mean I gave Rodri permission to sexually assault me. No means no. Stop means stop. He heard the words and chose to ignore them." How can you not agree with what she said? I mean, it's like I said, there's no way an intoxicated person can consent. And even while she was intoxicated, she did not consent. It's like she said, Rodri chose not to want to listen to her, which is absolutely just disgusting. If you look up PurpleRodri's Twitter or any social media account, you will find that There's absolutely nothing. The reason for this is that he ended up deleting it because of all the hate he continued to receive after these accusations were made. Funny enough though, his Discord server is still up and he continues to be active on there, which makes this whole retiring YouTube thing even more confusing. Why be active on your Discord server where the community of your supporters are and choose not to make content for them? That's why I believe that this retirement from YouTube is all just a way to avoid repercussions of his actions, as if he's just trying to hide from the public and not to be known as the guy who committed heinous acts, but to still contain some of the reputation that made him loved in the first place. I'm really struggling with how I want to end this video at. One hand, there's a man who is responsible for many people's childhoods, but ends his career with an act that's just completely terrible. It just comes to show how fast you can really end your own career. Again, we don't know if what was said was true or not. Again, this was just what happened between two people. Who really knows the truth? But from what was said, I don't believe that it's something to be taken lightly at all. Because it is a sexual assault. It is very legitimate, a huge problem in our world, and one that can get you in serious trouble with the law. I wouldn't be surprised if Rodri ever does come back though. I mean, after these allegations, I don't believe he should be welcomed with open arms, especially with that shitty fucking response he made up. And it's up to you though, to end up with a conclusion for yourself, whether he ended up wanting to retire or because he genuinely done something that was just inescapable for hate. Thank you guys for watching though. I again don't know how to end this video, but I do want to mention that if you guys want me to talk about someone else, leave someone in the description below and I'll look into it and research and see if I actually make a video on it. But with that, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video.